Que lo que miente, Grand Rising Great Warriors, what's good everyone? So in today's motivational message, which I am so glad that you're listening to, thank you so much, by the way, I forgot to say that in the beginning. But in today's motivational message, I just wanted to talk about the importance of speaking affirmatively about yourself and about your life, no matter what you're going through. I want to remind you that you are who you say you are. And when you constantly think it, then you naturally believe it. Again, when you constantly think it, or when you consistently think it, then you naturally believe it. And that goes for what you speak over your life as well. So remember that when you are going through a really tough situation that you can't exactly see out of, do not cave in on yourself. Don't be one more person who starts to break you down, because when your spirit is already low, or when other people are attempting to break you down, the last thing you should do is break yourself down as well. This video is brought to you by the poetry collection Things I Never Said by Sincerely Verolina. You can purchase your copy of the profound inspirational poetry collection today at www.verolinagoods.com or www.amazon.com. Well, it's not logical. It may be what your natural tendency is to do, because if someone keeps saying, you're ugly, you're fat, you're undesirable, you're poor, you're broke, you're unqualified, and anything in between, then you're going to start to believe those things about yourself. Maybe you have some bum, some Neanderthal, toxic reject, spineless human being telling you that nobody would ever want you, or where's your man? Where's your girlfriend? Like, you're ugly and all this other nonsense. It's so easy to tell yourself, well, it must be true, especially if 1 to 2 to 3 too many people keep on saying that about you. But you have to remember that the smart thing to do is to be there for yourself when no one else will. Be there for yourself. Be the person that you need other people, or no, that you needed your parents to be for you. But recognize that in life, in all honesty, like, nobody has to be there for you. Nobody needs to be there for you, especially if you have yourself and if you have your faith, because people are going to come and they're going to go. I have said since I was in middle school that it's more important that you value yourself and that you take care of yourself, because when it's your time to go, nobody is going to jump into that coffin with you. There are no bunk beds in coffins. That's why I used to tell my friends. It doesn't mean I don't care about them. It just means I clearly understand that when it's time for you to be lowered into the ground, not a single person is going to jump in and say, make room for me. No, girl, that's not how it works. Nobody's going to say, oh, take me with her. And then if they do feel that way in the moment, I'd highly doubt that they're literally going to jump into that grave with you. No, that's not how it works. So you cannot throw yourself on the dagger because other people would love to see you fall. Other people might want to see you wounded. Other people might want you to think low of yourself. That would make them feel better. People like you when you don't like yourself. Isn't that something? Thank you for supporting Vandora Goods digital content, brought to you by Sincerely Verolina. To learn more about the Things I Never Said poetry collection and podcasts, be sure to read the description below. To continue your support, you can submit your advice, questions, and suggestions using the link in the description. You can also use the Google Form link or send me an email to request access to the Vandora Goods Discord group. Thank you in advance for all monetary contributions that you make to Vandora Goods via the Venmo and cashapp links in the description below. People appreciate you a little more, or they act like they do, when they think that you are on the same low caliber as them. And it doesn't mean that they are, are worth 3/5 of a human being or nothing crazy or ludicrous like that. It just means that sometimes people keep themselves in unstable, disenfranchised situations, right? And they think that you should too. So they're comfortable with you as long as you're comfortable with being there with them. The moment you start to advocate for yourself and advocate for doing better for yourself, and the moment you start to act on what you think you should have and what you think your life should look like, that's when you see people start to depart. They start to fall off, like the little pine needles on a Christmas tree. They just start to wither away. They just disintegrate into nothingness. And all of a sudden, you don't have that many people to talk to, at least from that one environment that you had in common. And you know what? That's okay. Because if those people only were around you because they thought less of you and they think less of themselves, please ask yourself if it even makes sense for you to be around those people. You're not going to go to healthy places surrounding yourself by unhealthy people and with unhealthy sentiments and a really toxic mindset about your own self. It's really important to speak about what you can and you will do more than what you can't and you won't do. Of course, there are some things that you don't see as being possible. You don't feel like you're capable of doing it in the moment. Don't say, I cannot, or I'm not going to be able to do something. Change the way that you speak and just say, I don't see myself being able to get there in time. Because you might surprise yourself. You say, I don't see myself making $500,000 a year in my lifetime, or I don't see myself making $15,000 a month. If you have to speak it into existence, if you have to speak negatively about a situation, then at least say it like that. However, if you want to speak affirmatively and think better, I personally wouldn't even say it like that. I wouldn't say it at all. I just would keep it to myself and say, I am hopeful that in my lifetime I can make $15,000 a month. I'm striving to earn this amount of money a year. You just turn the way that you say things around because it does make a difference about what you think is possible. And you really do have to believe that anything is possible because it really is. Just reflect on your own life. Think about, the things that you couldn't even see a way out of and the things that you never saw yourself overcoming because maybe no one else in your life had done it. Maybe nobody in your family ever went off to school. So you didn't see that happening for you. Maybe nobody in your family ever had a healthy relationship, so you didn't think that you could be in one either. Maybe you fight in your own relationship. You fight that intimacy that your girlfriend or that your boyfriend or whomever is trying to give to you just because your natural inclination is to reject it the way your love was rejected or the way people rejected you when they were supposed to love you instead. But now look at you. Look at how you're able to embrace people. Look at how you're able to show love to people. Look at how you're able to receive love. Look at that sign of growth right there. Look at how you are transcending all the way across every hurdle that you at some point couldn't even see past. You are a reflection of your own capability of evolving in this life. So don't think to yourself for a minute, for a second, for a day, for a year that something is impossible or that it is logical and necessary or helpful even to think about yourself in the negative form. You have to speak about what you are. And if you're in the process of becoming, be in the process of becoming. That's totally fine. But speak on who you are, speak on what you are, and be truthful. I cannot stand when people are like, I'm such a nice person. I'm such a nice person. I don't think, I think some things go without being said. I think you got to stay away from people who say things like, I'm such a nice person. I'm such a nice person. Because, are you if you have to walk around and tell people that? It's like if you're wealthy, do you need to go around and tell people that you're wealthy? Or are you just wealthy? So that's one of those things that I think that when people say, they're probably in the process of trying to believe it. They want to believe that they are those things, but they're not exactly there yet. So they just go around and announce it to other people in hopes that other people will, affirm it for them. But I've noted for some time, and I think I've said in several videos, that if you need other people to tell you something about yourself in order to believe that it is true, then it is false. It is false. I don't need anyone to validate who I am. I don't need anybody to tell me that I am who I am. I just know that. So when it comes to your identity, you don't need people to validate that for you. You shouldn't need people or want people to confirm anything about yourself for you. It may feel good if somebody sees in you what you see in yourself, but if you need them to say that you are wealthy, if you need them to believe it, if you need them to think you're wonderful and you're kind, or that you're so generous, then that means that your identity is more about other people and what they make of you, as opposed to it being about who you are. And it is up to you to define who you are. As I said, you are who you say that you are. You are who you think that you are. And people cannot take that from you. You can think that you are this, and if people say you are that, then it shouldn't matter. And in reality, it's not going to matter when you are secure in your sentiments. When you're secure in your perception of yourself, people can't disrupt that. So one of the things to take away from today's motivational message is to be clear about who it is that you are. Remember that anything that you say after the statement I am is true to your subconscious mind. So if you say I am ugly, guess what, girl? You're ugly. If you say I am undesirable, you are undesirable. I will not ever understand why it was like a trend a few years ago for Black American people in particular to say Black women are at the bottom of the totem pole. I was like, you know what? Let that just be one more reason as to why I will never be considered Black and never think of myself as a Black person. Because, well, first of all, as I've stated many times before, I was not raised to identify with skin color. Race is about your skin color, right? And I'm not Black, I'm brown, first of all. Like, I know Indians that are darker than me. I know plenty of Latinos that are darker than me. It makes no sense for a fair-skinned Latino to be like, I'm brown because I'm Guatemalan and I'm brown, even though the person is as fair as, Ellen DeGeneres, but the person will say like I'm brown because they think of Hispanics as brown, but then they think of actual people who are brown skin as Black. It's like that makes no sense. If like I'm the one who's brown, sweetie, you're the one who's white if you want to be technical, but I don't understand all that stuff. I don't agree with that kind of stuff. I was raised to identify with my ethnicity. There are people in America who don't even say I'm white. They say I'm American. I'm American. That's what they say. They don't even say I'm white, right? So I don't understand why, for some reason, like people, especially when it comes to Black American people in this country, seem to hold on to this idea of identifying with your color as opposed to identifying with a culture, and primarily the cultures that you come from. That's how you preserve culture. That's how ethnicity remains alive. You practice it and you protect it. You don't just allow anyone to come in and be the face of it. So I just think it's very interesting, but I don't identify with it at all because I recognize at a young age, especially being in proximity to actual Black American people who had a different culture than me, that we did not grow up the same, we did not think the same, we didn't have the same customs or traditions and so on and so forth. But, another thing that I just vehemently disagree with is that notion that Black women are at the bottom of the totem pole. It's like, why would you ever say that about yourself? But even the phrase like I'm nothing or I came from nothing, it's like I couldn't ever say that about myself. Why would you think about yourself as once ever being nothing? Just like why would you ever talk about yourself as being at the bottom of the totem pole? Sweetheart, guess what? You're really gonna think of yourself as being at the bottom Like, no, I don't place anybody above me. I don't care if I'm purple. I don't care if I'm orange. I don't care if I'm fair skinned. I don't care if I'm dark skinned. I'm not going to ever believe and tell myself that I'm at the bottom of anything. You're not above me. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much access to resources that you have. You're not better than me. I'm not at the bottom of nothing. And that's probably why, when I think I'm insecure about something and then I see how other people talk about themselves, I'm like, girl, you're just fine. I'm just fine. Because I know you should not speak about yourself in such ways. It's only going to result in you really thinking of yourself and seeing yourself as being deserving of the nothingness that comes your way because you think you're nothing, or you're letting other people define you as opposed to defining yourself. Like, I really disagree with people defining themselves based on colors. And it's like, this is an American phenomenon. Around the world, people do not do this. But I see that some people around, certain parts of Latin America, and I know in parts of the UK, some people identify as being white and being black. And I just think it's nonsense, like, you are much more than a color. And the color does not really tell people about your culture. So you have people who are like, I'm just white, like I'm so plain, I'm so bland. Like, don't think about yourself like that. Don't think about yourself like, oh, I'm so dark, I'm so ugly, I'm so undesirable because I'm black. It's like, what? Don't talk like that. You have to affirm. You have to say things like, I am enough. I am capable of greatness. I am fearless. I am intellectual. I am secure. I am stable. You have to say things like that and speak it into your existence every single day. Look into your reflection and say every single day, I am who I am. I am enough. I am deserving of my existence. I am worthy. I am whole. I am wealthy. I am prosperous. I am becoming. I am overcoming. I am thriving. I am growing. I am one of a kind. Every single day. This video is brought to you by the poetry collection Things I Never Said by Starlini Vandora. You can purchase your copy of the profound inspirational poetry collection today at www.vandoragoods.com or www.amazon.com. You must say it every day. You must believe it every day, and you will act like someone who believes it. And when you get in proximity to anything that says otherwise, you will reject it. You will reject it. You will not even identify with it. You won't recognize that yourself in it because your subconscious mind has changed. It is truly powerful. And remember that people cannot take away from you who it is that you know yourself to be. People can give you colors. People can say, remember, when it comes to, African American people, they were once called the N-word. They were once called colored, Negroes, African Americans. Now it's black. It's like, how many times are you going to let people try to give your identity to you? If you find out what tribe you come from, if you find out what country you come from, people can't take that from you. That's why Chinese people are Chinese no matter where they are born. They are setting up businesses all over Africa. They're setting up businesses all over Latin America. They really are out there. They're all over Central America. They're all over Mexico as well. But guess what? They are Chinese no matter what. They are Korean no matter what. And they will go back to Korea, then go vacation in Mexico, and they will still be Korean. You won't ever be able to take that from them. It's called culture. It's called ethnicity. People cannot take that from you. They cannot take it away. It doesn't matter where you're born. They cannot rinse it out. They cannot take it away from you. But these labels that people desperately hold on to and don't give enough value to, people can take that away at any time, especially if they gave it to you. Like that inward foolishness. It's like, why do people want to call themselves that? That is the colonizer's word. Colonizers called brown-skinned African people the N-word. African people didn't get off the boats voluntarily and say that these are our names, call us N-words. They didn't say that. Colonizers y los conquistadores said that. But they have power over people and are able to keep you mentally shackled as long as you subscribe to the notions that they place onto you. They put on the hat, but you choose to wear it. Take it off. That's how you get your power back. You take it off. You don't have to make agreements with anything that people believe about you. That's the power that you have. They can believe that you are this. They can shout ugly words at your back. Guess what? They're behind you for a reason. As I said in my poetry collection, I said people will shout ugly words at your back. They're behind you for a reason. Shout out me. And you can read that full poem. It's called Ugly. And I don't remember the page number, but it's in my poetry collection called Things I Never Said. Check out the link in the description below, and go to Amazon.com or go to VonduraGoods.com, and you can purchase the poetry collection, and you can read all the wonderful, insightful, inspirational, profound poetry, and get your life. You can get your life, like one of the other poems is called. Shout out me, bro. Shout out me. I had like a full 360 moment when I wrote some of those poems, and I'm so glad that like when I have a low moment or I have a moment of insecurity, I can flip through the pages of my poetry collection and remind myself of who I am. I suggest that you do the same thing. But on that note, I would say thank you so much for listening. Tata mi amores, take care.
Gonna give you this mic back. But what I'm gonna say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.